How to cast a silver object. I designed the piece in a CAD program. This is a 3D printer that is creating the model in a castable resin. The resin must be kept stirred to prevent clumping. Care must be taken as the resin is toxic. The entire tray has to be handled carefully. The object is built upside down. The build head rises as the item is built. Here are 4 completed objects on the build head. They are placed in 2 alcohol baths to clean off any remaining resin and then left out to cure. The supports need to be carefully removed to avoid damaging the model to be cast. The scale must be carefully zeroed before weighing the ready-to-cast model and the metal to be used to cast the final version. For this object, I am using a 2.5 inch by 3 inch flask. This flask requires 129 milliliters of water and 12 ounces of jewelry-grade investment. The investment is poured into the water and then hand stirred for 3.5 minutes. It is placed into a vacuum pump to draw out the air in the mixture. The investment is then carefully poured into the flask to avoid moving the object, as it must remain approximately centered in the flask. And return to the vacuum pump to remove more air. The filled flask needs at least overnight for the investment to dry. The flask is placed into a cold kiln. The open end is placed on the bottom to allow the resin to drain away. The kiln will evaporate the resin. This kiln has already been programmed for a 5-hour burnout, which refers to how long it will take to properly melt the resin and harden the investment. Another important preparatory step is balancing the centrifuge. This is the machine where the silver is melted and then injected into the mold. An oxygen acetylene torch is used to melt the silver. Notice that heavy gloves and welding glasses are required for safety. The hot flask is quickly placed in the centrifuge after the silver has been melted. This process needs to be completed quickly as the silver starts cooling as soon as the torch is removed. The spinning literally throws the molten silver into the mold. The flask remains hot, so care must be taken while removing it from the centrifuge. The flask is allowed to cool for 5 to 8 minutes and then immersed in water to dissolve the investment. What remains is a unique silver model of the design.